Good morning. Welcome back to the RNG Dice Challenge of Dragon Warrior 3, where we're going to keep going until we get monster medals, and we're collecting all of them. We rolled a 4 today, so... Oh, crap. One person gets unequipped. Oh my gosh. I don't believe it. Okay, equipment. Yeah, Pindle now is stuck without equipment for the duration of the episode. Normally, I would roll to see which party member ends up losing all their gear, but Pindle is the only party member I have. My question is, can I reliably fight in here without equipment? Oh, wow, 29 damage with no equipment. I deal 29 damage without holding... Well, 21. Okay. So the damage spike is still kind of real there. I did 21 and 29 damage. This is going to be a thing to deal with. That probably means I think I'm going to end up teleporting back to Aliahan. Oh, yeah. Butterflies. Surround would be could be a huge... Surround and sleep can both be huge problems. Yeah, I think I'd best just head back to Aliahan and deal with not surround and sleep enemies. Because being stuck without equipment when you have no party members to do anything else is going to be a... Oh, wait, I do have Fireball, though. I can do that to get around the whole, not having weapons. Now, it's not a magic-only episode, so I can do other stuff, but this will at least help me fight through this area. Just so that we don't have to deal with all of this. Alright, you know what? The Almirage are in 2 separate groups, really? Okay, well, Fireball the butterflies, and then I can just punch the Almirage. If they were all in one group, I would have fireballed them first, and then fireballed the butterfly. Or just punch the butterflies. If they didn't cast around, I would just opt to punch them instead. Treasure chest. Oh, yay, free leather hat. Leather hat does me no good, but I can just bag it for now. Alright. Well, I might as well go ahead and just, I have 25 magic right now. As long as I have at least 8 to teleport to Aliahan, I can just take this area first. Ooh. Okay, how about we fireball the Almirage first? Try and get Babel medals. And I did not one-shot the Almirage. Crap. I was kind of hoping I'd one-shot them. Give them less turns to deal damage and cast sleep and poison. Seriously? Now one of them ran away. Yeah, we gotta head back, because without armor, we're taking more damage, and when there's that many enemies, the damage really does stack up. There we go. Burn, baby, burn! Oh, well, look at that, free antidote. At least we got that. Cast, return. Yeah, let's just head back to Aliahan. We'll get a free heal at Mom's house. And to think, I was trying to just take it nice and easy through the cave on the way back to Romali. And then all of a sudden, boom. Naked day. So... dealing with this now. Now I gotta try and grind out a monster medal while having no equipment. All right, here we go. Slime and 2 ravens. We'll just go ahead and punch them. Because ravens don't run away. Slimes might run away, but ravens don't. All right. In fact, I can go ahead and head over to the eastern side of the island. We'll do that one. Horny hair first so they don't run away, and then work my way up to the anteater, I guess. We're just going to rapid click to get through. And man, I gotta say, like, Florida has been cold lately. Like, this past week, we've had some cold-ass days. That's why, you know, I'm sitting here in my jacket, trying to use my little desk. I got, like, this little desk pedal thing that I got, not this Christmas, but the last Christmas. Comes in real handy so I can move my legs while I'm doing recording and streaming and trying to keep warm. 4 of them. You know what? We're going to go ahead and... I know I don't need to cast Fireball. I could just go straight for the attack, but we're going to do Fireball to take them all out at once. It'll just be faster. Like, not everything we do has to be 100% necessary. Ooh, Babbles. Okay. Let's Fireball the Babbles, and then we'll take out the other ones, the other party. Butterfly, then Frogor, I think. We're just gonna punch him in the face. Butterfly and its ugly, like, jawed face. Like, Frogor looks like the kind of creature that you would expect a frog to mutate into in this kind of fantasy world. The butterfly is, like, freakish. It's got that huge, gaping mouth just filled with teeth, just like... Alright, let's Fireball the Babbles. Take them out before they get a chance to run away! And let the Sting Wasps call for help. Yeah, do that. You call for help, that's just more experience points for us. Ooh, 4 damage when I'm not wearing armor. Oh, that's a little risky. Alright, another band of Babbles. We just Fireball this group. Get them before they run, come on. And before they poison you, please. Yes. Take them out. Would be nice to have my whip back, though. Hey, chance at a monster medal? Oh, no. No monster medal. Treasure chest instead. Of course. We can't always get lucky. Alright, Babble, then Butterfly. Punch him in the face. This is just the 2 of them. Oh, Surround. How much trouble are you going to give me for trying to punch you in the face? Can I please do this without having to cast Blaze? Thank you. We got there. Oh, I also broke 1,000 gold. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and walk back to Aliahan to deposit the gold. Ooh. Butterfly, and then we'll do the Sting Wasp so they get a chance to call for help. Just like that. Look at that. Exactly what I wanted you to do. Call for help. Bring me the experience points. Yeah, keep calling for help. That's basically a never-ending chain of experience knockouts. I should be getting, maybe close-ish to level 18. Ooh, here we go. Okay, Fireball the Horny Hares, just so we can take them out in one fell swoop before they get a chance to run. Then, if the slime doesn't run, we punch the slime, punch the Anteater, and win. Oh, nope, slime ran. Take the Anteater! You know, I know we're also a little ways into the new year since these series started, or since this has been recorded. I started a little New Year's resolution. Well, a few, actually. Ooh, okay. Take out the Horny Hare because they tend to run away. A few goals I have. I want to read 52 books this year, and as of recording this, for anybody wondering the reference, it is currently January 9th. I know that won't mean much to anybody, but being recorded on the 9th, uploaded whenever this comes out. I know I have the videos going pretty much daily, but I try and keep them scheduled in advance. Pindle, level 18. Oh, 14 hit point bump. Nice. 14 hit point bump. That might actually help me take on Kandar if I were to try it again. But so that's where we're at, and I want to read 52 books this year, an average of 1 per week. I've already finished 2, and it's a mix of like short books, long books, just books in general. Some books I am picking up and reading like maybe a chapter at a time because they're like they're a little heavier content-wise, or something I've noticed that I don't know if other people struggle with this. Sometimes older books are a little harder to read because of the kind of style of the language, or the narrative style is just it's like it's more to digest, to go through. Like I had that issue with A Clockwork Orange when I first tried picking that one up, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the language is so out there that I basically have to read a lot of sentences twice just to kind of piece together the language. Or I got Bram Stoker's Dracula that I'm working on like a chapter at a time before I switch to a more, I wouldn't say lighter book necessarily, but different kinds of books. Stuff that's a little more recent and contemporary. But yeah, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's just the narrative style of it. I had the same kind of thing when I was reading a few of the original Sherlock Holmes novels. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle doing those. So those are kind of cool. But yeah, because of the narrative style and how it's like, it's written as a journal or an article that Watson was writing for his city and his setting, as opposed to like, you know, a typical novel that just follows a character. The entire thing was basically narrated by Watson as his first-hand account of what he and Sherlock have been up to, which is a cool narrative style. And it's kind of weird that we don't see I don't know, maybe some things are written like that these days, but I feel like we don't see a lot of those, at least not in a popular discourse. Novels nowadays seem to be either first-person or third-person perspective narrative, where you don't have that kind of second-person narrative like you see with Watson. I guess not. That's not. I guess you wouldn't technically call that second person. Second person would be like you, the reader, is in the book, but less of those like second-hand type of narratives. And I think H.G. Wells' The Time Machine was kind of like that too, where it was basically written from the perspective of a journalist who talked to the scientist, and it was the scientist recounting his stories of what he experienced with the time machine, as opposed to just, here's a story about a scientist and a time machine. I wonder if like authors of that time, if that was just the more popular writing format of the day. Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula is like that too, and that one, I'm only about halfway through it now, and it's definitely a very slow-paced book compared to some others that you could probably pick out. But it's that same kind of thing where the entire book is basically written as if it's diary entries and letters between the characters that are, and they're not even all in order. Like since they're all diary entries and letters, they come dated. Ooh, you know what? Yeah, let me take the sting wasp first, and then I'll fireball those butterflies. I figured a surround would probably go off since there's 4 of them. And it's kind of a cool thing. Like, you're seeing, like, oh, this diary entry for July 8th, and then a couple pages later, after that diary entry is completed, it's this letter from Mina Harper to Lucy. I think that was the name. And the diary entry was like 2 days before that. The letter to Lucy was written 2 days before it. Which of course the letter would have been written 2 days before, but because of shipping speeds, they might not have received the letter on that date that it was written. I just thought it was a series of like very cool narrative designs where it does make it a little heavier and a little more difficult to keep up with depending on what a person is used to reading. Maybe some people have an easier time with it, but maybe it's also just because in our modern world, I've had more exposure to narratives that specifically followed a main character. So when it jumps around characters and different narrators, it gets to be a little more all over the place. Something else I've been reading lately. I've been reading I got this. It was on sale at this Ollie's discount store. There were 2 separate box sets of these Five Nights at Freddy's novellas. So I picked those up and I started going through those. Definitely reminds me of Goosebumps back in the day. There we go, that one down. Now we can go ahead and just take out these butterflies. Although I will say most of the stories in those books, I find it kind of interesting. So the structure of it feels very Goosebumps, where each story is a self-contained narrative about these characters. So they don't really like, and I guess they exist in the same world, but they don't. The characters don't intermingle with each other. They're probably not even in the same city or not even in the same time period or decade. The characters are all kind of scattered across the time frame of the franchise lore. But for the most of the characters in Five Nights at Freddy, like most of the main characters are actually like complete assholes. Like, I get that they're kids, but even as far as kids go, they are a bunch of little dicks. And it's like, you know what? All of the shit that the animatronics and the horrors that they're being put through, it's like, wow, I have a hard time sympathizing with a lot of these characters. Except for one. Like, so far, I just started the 3rd book, but in the second one of the characters in the second one, like, yes, that character made a mistake because he stole the toy that was basically the central focus of the horror for that episode, or for that chapter. But he stole it out of desperation because he was like, he was in a position of, ugh, I never get to enjoy anything. Everything is always ripped out from under me and everybody else always gets stuff. But he didn't hold it against other people. He was just kind of sick of it. So in a moment of desperation of wanting this toy, he stole the toy, still left the money on the store counter. So, like, he was trying to make sure that he had paid for it. But then he felt bad about it, and I had more sympathy for him than for other characters. Heck, the chapter just before his was a oh my god, like the teen was just such a total douchebag. Like, his parents had no idea what to do with him. They went so far out of their way to try and... Yeah, he was clearly some kind of neurodivergent, and his parents were not exactly equipped to work with him, shall we say. But considering the time period that story probably took place in, neurodivergence wasn't as understood or documented as it is to us today. I think that story probably took place probably in the 80s, since the Freddy Fazbear's pizza chain was still active at the time. Like, it was still in full swing active, so clearly before the whole Bite of 86 incident. But he and his sister didn't really get along, but his sister really, 10-year-old sister, she wanted to get along with him. She wanted her brother to like her. And instead, dude was just a total asshole to her until they just started kind of working together in a way to kind of like try and outsmart their parents, because they were doing some kind of psychology thing, trying to help him out and figure him out and try and correct some of his behavioral issues. And they, to the parents' credit, they really were trying for the time period they were in. But it wasn't until it was actually too late and one of the animatronics just up and actually took over his body, like switched bodies with him, so that he became one of the, they called it a Lonely Freddy, where it was an animatronic Freddy that was like pint-sized, and designated to specifically pair up with problem children that nobody wanted to include at the party. And it was apparently such a thing that Lonely Freddy's was actually just provided by the restaurant for kids like that didn't get along well with other kids at birthday parties and stuff. So they pair up a kid with a Lonely Freddy. But no, the one he got was one in a back room. But it turns out that he was not the only kid to have gotten absorbed by a Lonely Freddy. I guess the entire chain of Lonely Freddys were all body swappers. We got fogged right out the bat. Okay, you know what? Blaze the Babble. Then maybe Blaze the Butterfly. Yeah, we're gonna go for that. Which has me wondering, like, now each story does feel very self-contained, but I have to wonder, like, is the total narrative of the franchise supposed to be basically about these, like, an animatronic uprising trying to take over or intermingle into humanity kind of thing? Like, I'm familiar with the whole, deceased children, or vengeful children, possessing animatronics and coming back to life to get vengeance on the, I think it's the legendary purple guy that first started, like, the whole spiel with this whole situation. Like, I don't know all about the lore, but I've watched a lot of game theory videos. I've seen how those things play out. It's just kind of a cool thing. I'm not, like, hugely engrossed in the franchise. I have literally never played a single one of those video games. But the lore videos and stuff that came out from them it's something else. It is a phenomenon what they did with that series. Alright, Sting Wasp just decided not to call for help, so yeah, fine for me. Get some easy knockouts. And I can kind of see how so many, there were so many other creators that made, like, games inspired by Five Nights. That, like, they were clearly just kind of, you could look at them and say, oh, this is definitely a ripoff of that game, but the creator of Five Nights understood that the people that made those made them out of an affection for the franchise as a whole, not as a way to, like, try and cash grab and get in on a suddenly popular formula. Oh yeah, call for help, guys. Go ahead and fireball now for a big hit. And I definitely respect, like, the creators that do that kind of thing. Now, I also believe that when creators do have, like, an intellectual property that is unique to them, they do have a right to try and protect their IP if somebody is blatantly using their brand in a way that the copyright owner does not authorize. Like, that is their right to their brand. But at the same time, like, so that's like the difference where those Five Nights at Freddy fan games, they were similar in style, tone, and design to the FNAF series, but they didn't actually use the FNAF brand. So even if the creator had issues with other people making those little spin-offs, it wasn't like they were inspired by it and creating something out of it, not like, oh my gosh, they're ripping it off. Where that, I know one of the popular ones, we do a lot of Pokemon on this channel. For anybody that is subscribed or follows, you'll definitely notice that. And I know Pokemon Nintendo in general is very protective of their intellectual properties, to the point they will like hunt and they will issue takedowns for people that make Pokemon fan games. But here's the thing. They'll take down Pokemon fan games, but then you have other games that are clearly inspired by things like Pokemon. Hey, like, look at Koromon, Nexomon, things of that nature. Even other larger mainstream ones that were on major console markets. What was the one? Yokai Watch could very, very much be said to have been inspired by Pokemon. But because, like, even if those games are similar in style, tone, and structure to Pokemon, to various degrees, Nintendo can't really say anything about that, because it is a unique IP. They are not using Pokemon's brand. And I know in recent months there's been that whole debacle with the PAL World issue with the PAL Spheres. But then they're like, okay, you don't like the balls? Well, we'll take out the ball, but, you know, other than that, Pokemon doesn't really have much of a leg to stand on dealing with the game mechanically, especially when the game, like, yes, there's monster catching, but at its very core, PAL World was a very different game. Again, not a game that I've played, but it's just something that, that was kind of interesting. Interesting to see that phenomenon pop off. Like, it doesn't seem like the kind of game that I would want to put money into, because I don't know how much I would actually play it based on my budget and how much time I have to put to those when I have other projects I'm working on. Like this disaster right here, where we're still holding out for a monster medal 28 minutes into the episode. Calm down. Calm down. Don't go off your rocker. We're keeping a positive attitude for monster medals while we're dealing with having no equipment. Oh my god. Come on, I've definitely done more than 16 battles. And even then, like, I'm sure PAL World probably could have fought they could have fought the lawsuit. But then, you know, that's legal fees and stuff. And just like, you know, it's not even worth it. We'll make this one small change and take the wind out of their sails. Just be like, yeah, you know what, we don't care that much. It still doesn't change, like, anything having to do with the actual monster catching mechanics of the game. I think the only thing they actually removed is like, okay, yeah, now you just don't actually see the ball popping the monster out. Something to that effect. Ooh, okay, a squad of Babbles. Yeah, fireball the Babbles, so we can avoid having to use an antidote. That'd be nice. And we'll go ahead and fireball the Stingwafts too. There's already 3 of them. And they're dealing 4 damage at a time, so if I try and take them normally and they get a lot of normal attacks on me. Oh, would you look at that? Caught them off guard. We'll go ahead and take the... Oh, you know, if I caught them off guard, I should have attacked... I should have gone for the Sting Wasps first. Yeah, that I could have gone for the Babel Monster Medal. I think I do need... I am lower on those than most other Monster Medals. Because I constantly try to take them out first because of the poison. Alright, take the Sting Wasps. Okay, there's the fog, but I got enough MP for one more fireball. Now I can just go ahead and head over to heal my MP. Not even worried about it. Right as night fell, too. Starting to get long episodes again. We had a couple of reasonably length episodes the last couple rounds, but the horny hairs not dropping me medals. You know, for a 1 in 16 chance, I feel like I am definitely getting the short end of those probabilities. You must be tired. It's too cold at night. Would you like to stay? Why, yes. Thank you very much. I would like to stay and heal. Get my MP back. Now, if we can get our Monster Medal, we can go ahead and move on to, we got 804 gold, too. Okay. That's a pretty good stash of gold. Okay. Take the Babel first so that it doesn't run away, and then we just fireball the frogs. Fireball them for speed's sake. So, you know, people out there, what are some books that, you know, you all would recommend if we have any avid readers out there? I do have quite a few things on my bookshelf that I am intending to get to, but it's just I've gotten so many books on sale and at the used bookstore that looked interesting. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna grab a bunch of these. Ah, they landed the poison. All right, well, fireballed a bunch of them. Maybe a Monster Medal. I also reread. I took notes on this one. I reread this this one called Neon Leviathan. That it was an interesting narrative. It was another one that jumped perspectives a lot, where like so the entire book takes place across multiple characters and multiple years, basically illustrating this whole conflict. So it centers on, I guess, a war. So there's a war going on between Korea and China, and a bunch of refugees are fleeing to Australia. And it sounds like the refugees are actually coming from both of these countries. But at the same time, it's a cyberpunk dystopian world that they're dealing with, and as fits in with that kind of genre, there's a lot of, there's the mega corporations that basically run everything. Oh, sweet. Look at that. 2 of them called for help, and now I can go ahead and fireball a squad of 6. Haha, nice. But, so most people have, like, these memory implants, the cochlear implants, which I think they're like an implant that goes in the back of their ear that connects directly to their brain, and think like the iPhone from Futurama, and it's basically that. But instead of like projecting a screen in front of your eye, it actually like projects its so-called screen onto your retina directly, so that you can see whatever it is, but you're the only one that can see it. The idea of the technology is really cool, but it's also kind of like, wow, so anybody could be watching literally anything out in public and nobody would know what the heck they're watching. But because of that, I guess people became very reliant on the technology, as it would be constantly recording. So the implant, they could play back any memory from the implant, and then the implants also became integrated so much into society that any kind of legal issues could only be they could only be subpoena. Like, you can only really give testimony through your recorded memory. What you actually remember is not trusted compared to your recorded memory. And then there's actual government agencies that have the ability to edit recorded memory. And then there's some conspiracies that are playing off, like scientists disappearing, like scientists who develop certain technologies, trying to work on other technologies to maybe correct some issues. Some people are selling their memories. Boom! Monster Metal! Okay, that's going to be all for today. We'll continue on this whole little tirade about Neon Leviathan tomorrow, maybe.